Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, innovative, and amazing Propagandacast with me, host Imperial Dane, the one, the only Master Propaganda Hero Psych Defender of the Fatherland, off here to a 1v1 on Twin Beaches. The north it is. What was his name again? Mr. Juju, fighting here for the Oberkommando West Germany. Deutsches Afrika Korps. Bad habits there. But anyways, Deutsches Afrika Korps forming up here with the Hermann Göring Fallschirmpanzerdivision. We'll be going for Armoured Support in the south. It is me, fighting for America, freedom, democracy. He is setting out with the 1st Armoured Division straight into the Armoured Battle Group. Yes, it's something besides airborne. We did get a hotfix up, by the way, so any replacements in like the last couple of days, gone. Can't use them anymore, just a heads up there. So, our way, though, we did get Pacino stalemate, though no balance changes really, so sadly there was not a match on Pacino stalemate, though. But anyways, Cartridge out here, Panzer Puny heading westwards here. Immediately go for armoured into veteran cruise, which immediately means any vehicle or tank immediately gains veterans of 1, which is pretty good. Going for a rifle start here. Got the scouts being westwards there, probing out the terrain there. East side here, Cartridge rolling forwards pretty swiftly there through the beachy sands. We got Panzergrenadiers out here, also a rare skip of Italian combined arms, so somewhat of a non-meta match here going on. Ralph Squad's pushing southwards there, going to be following up with a Jeep, I believe, so I can actually make use of that veteran crew's ability there. Have the Jeep moving about, grabbing points. Panzer going forwards here, Panzer Puny busy up there. Cartridge having quick security will likely link up with the forces in the north. Scout continuing to probe away there. Riflemen setting out here and there. Got the Panzer Puny there. Probing ahead, going to lay down some sandbags. Standard stuff there. 2nd Panzer Pioneer squad out here. Going for a mix of Panzers and Panzer Pioneers alongside the Kartschützen. Sandbags down there. Still moving up with the Panzer Grenadiers equipped with a Karnat TK bolt action rifle. Southern points swiftly east for freedom and democracy. Just going to be pushing on the southern resource. Like if he's going to go hard for the north, I'm kind of willing to let it hand it. Sure, he gets the munitions, but he won't be getting as much fuel and he won't be getting as many victory points. So heading sort of the north here for my opponent definitely benefits me a fair bit. Keep moving ahead here, immediately choosing the capture territory ability. They're allowed to rapidly grab terrain there, and I'm just again grabbing the entire southern half of the map. Less fuel munitions, but more fuel and victory points. But in some regards, it definitely also has some more interesting defense points here, so grab the victory point here. 3rd rifles one way for me. Scouts just getting out of there. God damn, no one ever told me the Germans were going to be this rude. John, we're in a war. Oh, right. Keep forgetting. God damn it. Meanwhile, Swift Tech here for my opponent into the Light Support Company and a 250-1 infantry half-track. Panzer Grenadier pushing forwards. Panzer Pioneer there moving about as well here. Got the Cartridge motorcycle team there just grabbing stuff here and there. Leaving the Jeep to basically grab points in the south here. Moving the rifleman up here. Gonna probe into the southern half here of the coastal village. And there you go, catching the Panzer Pioneer here with the riflemen. Got Thompson there on the squad leader, and someone granted it. What did they drop this Thompson on the squad leader? Oh, go figure. You say that, but oh no, there we go. There's the guy. No, German infantry squads will also typically have the squad leader equipped with either an MP40, a Sturmgewehr later on, or the G43. Or I suppose the G41. But there you go, Panting caught in the retreat here. Did not anticipate that, so quickly get a wipe here, retreated too slowly. Always be mindful of your retreat paths there. And now suddenly his Panzer squad and Panzer Pioneer bicks around. We do get the 250 half rushing here from the north. Moving straight from the base towards the centre here. Moving up from here to flank around there. Got the Jeep flanking of the 250 half track, firing into the rear armour with its 30 cal machine gun. Panzer Grenadier, Panzer Pioneer now being surrounded here on all sides by GIs. We got the M250 there falling back here. Pushing forwards here for freedom and democracy. Panzer Pioneer there, leaving just the Panzer squad here. This time my opponent is a lot faster to get the devil out of there. Meanwhile, Jeep and 250 having this contest here. And I just popped the Jeep out of there before it, gets wrecked, hopefully. MG34 sitting up here, though. Quickly going to halt my advance, push me back here, but still, overall, I won the engagement. I suffered next to no real damage. I mean, I didn't even lose a single guy in these engagements. Meanwhile, I whacked the Pioneer squad. And, you know, almost bled out another one. No, did some fair damage, you know, plus hit him with a half tank. I mean, that's pretty good for engagement. That is really good. And certainly highlights the importance of cover and maneuvering, setting up overlapping fields and fire whatnot. Cartridges and they're trying to get away there, and that could possibly become another part of the kill tally here in the early game. So certainly off to a very good start here for me so far. Again, that fight in the beach, by the beach road here, turned out very favorably for me. He was definitely not expecting me to attack from those angles. I did, and that caught him in a pretty bad position. Quickly fix up the 250 half track. We'll have to see what it goes for next. I definitely, of course, am keeping in mind the possibility of like a fast Achtrad, which is definitely like one of the major threats at the moment, and is very powerful. Typically, most DAK players will rush for it because it is really good. And there you go, mechanized company up there for Mr. Juju. Punks are pushing forwards here. And of course, working with a half track, they perform a lot better. Punks being inside the half track as well here, but so far I'm taking up compression again. I still have like a good chunk of the map under my control here. So far, just a very strong start for me. I'm going to rush out a Greyhound, quick versus the infantry, the light vehicles, and, you know, in case of a Achtrad, should also hold up reasonably. We do get the second 250 half track out here. So far, Hemmingering, Fallschirm, Panzerdivision holding out well. There we got the Panzerjägers with the, well, Panzerbüchse there.
A fuel point is being seized by the enemy.
Heading eastwards there with the Panzer being a half track, certainly a fairly mechanized force my opponent is in possession of. Bit easy to maintain against the Americans because they can't just get a boatload of anti-tank rifles.
Sector lost. No contact.
So, steady moving out here, Greyhound right out the corner here. Adding the 50 cal, the Madus. We'll be following up with the M24 Chaffee to help deal with, again, light vehicles, but also, you know, any Achtrads there, which are definitely on the way here from my opponent. Seizing the hill here.
Commander, all vehicles will now have less strength. Reports of enemy movement.
Going forwards there with the Greyhound, backed up by 3 rifle squads. And we got the M24 Chaffee on the way. Picked his spotter to help boost other vehicles near the Greyhound. Going forward here straight at the 250 hammer. There you go. Anti-tank rifle chapping in there, threatening my M8 Greyhound armored car, quickly forcing that one to withdraw. Unsurprisingly, and there you go. Got the Achtrad moving forward here. Straight into the rifle squads here. I lack, by the way, any anti-tank grenades here, but I'm kind of hoping to bluff him into thinking I got them. In this case, he also makes a slightly odd move. I'm not entirely sure, but he actually pops out the Panzerjägers right in front of all of my riflemen. I am not entirely sure what the reasoning for this is. And definitely likely to get a lot of good hits in there, but there you go. Graham being pursued with the Achtrad, kind of using it as bait here, hoping that Chaffee can arrive in time. Gonna unlock flanking speed to, of course, give it better mobility here. The Achtrad pulls back, perhaps sensing a trap himself. Instead of like pursuing with the great Achtrad there, he disengages. So got the Chaffee here, the M24 Chaffee. They only really saw service fairly into the war. We're talking late 1934, roughly around the same time the Pershing would have seen introduction. By the way, did actually see service with the British as well, which I find kind of neat there, so... Side note there.
Deploying engineers now. Combat engineers on station.
And would after the war see quite a bit of lifetime across a variety of armies, I believe. So, Achtrad need repairs, 250 half track need repairs. He did lose a Panzer Pioneer squad. That does make it hard for him to repair all of these light vehicles. He'll definitely want to up that as a priority pretty rapidly. And what is this? That is the ambulance here for Mr. Juju. He pops them right to the ambulance. I don't know if you're supposed to do that. By the way, though, use the mechanized support center to actually repair the ground a bit and then get engineers to do the rest of the job. Also pushing for some BARs because, you know, more weaponry and more firepower is always a good idea. But now my opponent with the Achtrad there is definitely presents himself as more of a serious threat. Of course, he's also got the anti-tank rifles. He's also using his ambulance fairly actively. They're more risky in some respects, but if you can manage it, it can certainly also give you even more power. Panzer they're falling back in the face of the Greyhound and the M24 Chaffee, a light tank. Heading northwards here with the truck there. Got the Achad falling back. Greyhound Chaffee moving forwards. Ralph Squad moving up here. Mortar moving up here to occupy the building here to provide mobile zone of fire against any movements there. Ralph Squad moving further. The MD-34 caught in a bad spot. Ambulance falling a bit back here. We do have a second Panzerpino squad out here for him now. Placing horses and going for the Granatenbüchse. Or grenade rifle. It was basically just an anti-tank rifle. This sort of like good chunk of the barrel and convert that into like an grenade launcher, which could fire regular rifle grenades, but also anti-tank rifle grenades. So there's a little fun fact. There you go, 215 damage here. But there you go, we got the anti-tank rifles. There you go, got 250 half-track here. Chaffee though does take a fair amount of damage here. Quickly withdrawing here, using the flanking speed to expedite its retreat. Ralph's got to be glassy behind a few old boats. Meanwhile, as all this is happening in the south, I'm moving north as regarding points. In this regard, I'm exploiting my opponent's sense to like just, play, well, perhaps not the most mobile Deutsches Afrika core play. We do have the MD moving forwards as well here. What will be next? Will it be an Achtrad? Will it be more Collins? Going here for seek and destroy. South here, Scout's been caught here with the Achtrad, moving in with its autocannon traction machine gun. And do quite a bit of damage very fast here, and there's a good chance my scouts get utterly plastered and killed. Yup. Right, there, should put them back sooner. Tried to deploy a smoke grenade, but that didn't work out, as you can see there. And I should have retreated instead of deploying the smoke grenade there. That was a very bad call by me, to put it simply. Panzerpino pushing forward with a mix of flamethrowers and, of course, the grenade launcher. Fixing up the M24 Chaffee. He's a bit busy elsewhere, so that's going to take a bit longer. We got Ralph holding up here. In fact, I got both squads holding up here. Forming a bit of a fortified zone here infantry-wise. It's going to be a bit difficult for my opponent to clear out without, other assault forces to breach. Or, flamethrowers. I'm kind of using this to slightly annoy my opponent. And just prevent him from, moving towards the center of the map here. And occupy the main center road here. Got the Archag moving forwards here, fixing up here both Chaffee and Greyhound. I'm going for the weapon support center because I'm not quite close to tank. I've got a lot of manpower, but I want some machine guns to help curtail some of the movements here my opponent's making. Plus, I'm probably also considering some bazookas to further just add some extra firepower on the cheap. Meanwhile, we got another anti-tank team out here for Mr. Juju and the Hammergurling Fallschirm Panzerdivision rushing another 250 half-track, meaning he's back to 2 half-tracks. Honestly, at this point, he could consider, going for the army upgrade to allow him to upgrade his 250 half-tracks into either more armored cars or a mortar half-track. But there we go. Panzerpino pushing forward here. That is a great time for my men to get out of there before they get scorched and roasted. South moving into the MD-34, which I was not anticipating there. Chaffee, Greyhound here carrying the center for now. Up north, Achtrad going for the Jeep there. Flamethrower units moving up here in the south. The assault continues. Ralph squad pinned down. Need to get that out of there. Up north here, Jeep trying to escape the Achtrad here and its autocannon. The assaults are predictable. The Jeep turns into a great ball of fire. And that's it. No happy ending on that one. There you go. Chaffee rushes forwards here. Flanking speed trying to catch that Achtrad before it gets away. There you go. Double shots there punching through the Achtrad's armor. Definitely not made to survive encounter with that large guns. Then proceed, despite the spotter ability, none of my light tanks or Greyhound tank to hit the Achtrad. Then I disengage because I know if I pursue any further, I'm going to run straight to a lot of anti-tank rifles, maybe even mines. So it would be very silly of me to lose my light vehicles already. Their mine here laid down, and also got a mine there. Meanwhile, south side here, opponents now seeks the beach from me. Very good work there by him, actually. Meanwhile, though, deploying smokes in counter to push forwards here. Nice thick smoke screen there. And then Vickers 30 cal there on the way. I can also take up. This is a good tank depot on the way. Won't be pushing for any tanks anytime soon, but I'll have the option once I get there. And until then, I can just go for bazookas. Well, anti-tank guns, I suppose. Flanking in your fifth, we've got the Achtrad, the counter-attacking backed up by Panzergrenadiers and Panzerpioniere. And, of course, the Panzerjägers. MD-34 push back. You got the ambulance at the front line as well.
HMG team deploying.
Mortar Fahimi back at their base. We do have a Panzerarmee Command going up there for Mr. Juju. Mortar there being assailed by the Panzerjägers. Now the squad has been equipped with the MG34. Mortar there pushed back. Got the 30 coming forwards. Jeeps and Greyhounds there blasting away at those goddamn crowds. And we got the Panzerwing forwards with an MG34. Roscoe caught in the open, grabbing the Sun Punch. For some reason, that game the waters and we want grab the point and move on. Then for some reason, they just moved on. Happens from time to time. That is indeed a bit annoying. Vertical sitting up here. Carl there getting very enthusiastic with his carbine. Carl, slow down. You can't hit them at that range.
They've taken our victory point.
Panzerjägers are suppressed. Grand back the Sun the victory point again. Roscoe moving forwards. The opponent remains very focused on the southern part of the beach. Though again, not really like dispatching like a small runner unit up north here. Feel like that could work out well for him. But yeah, the approach in the south, they're going fairly well for him. We got the the Greyhound and the Chaffee lining up for deep flank. I'm going to risk any potential mines, so far he hasn't really bothered with them anyway. So my plan is to get behind him, catch some of the light vehicles, including the ambulance, which I believe at this point I have spotted. But instead what happens, he's actually going for a Panzer III at the same time. So my deep flank, my brilliant tactical maneuver there kind of runs into Panzer III. That's not entirely bad either, because it allows me to effectively ambush the Panzer III and destroy it before it joins up with the main force. So this ends up being, a mix. Then I pop Seek and Destroy to increase, well, basically the offensive output of my tanks and vehicles here to allow me to take out the Panzer III. It costs me a Chaffee, but taking out the Panzer III is honestly a big win there. In the south, though, I forgot about the 30 cal, and the Germans absolutely pulverized the crew. I tried to grab it, but the results are, pretty predictable. They died too, spectacularly. And he's come up the ambulance to repair that. Bringing in the Greyhound here. I actually make a miscalculation just going straight ahead. Should have done that. Should have taken a longer route around, but too late for that now. Taking a lot of damage from the Outguard. Panzer Pioneer Panzer going for the car point. Machine gun there secured by my opponent. Greyhound there trying to get away, but unsurprisingly the assaults are not pretty, I think, for the Greyhound here. And pop goes the weasel. Turd flies off. Like a champagne cork on a very, very French bottle of champagne. Who's being murdered here? Kind of forgot about all this stuff. I'm actually going for the EC-80 lining up for that bazooka team on the way. I can also start pushing for the Sherman soon. I was briefly considering the M18 Hellcat first, but I decide on the Sherman. The assaults here are not pretty, and overall end up just wasting a lot of manpower here in a rather senseless series of engagement. At least I got the medics to, mitigate the losses of that engagement. North there ground the victory point as well, meaning he's got a triple cap on. We got the Panzerjägers move out there. What do we have going on here now? Opponent, we got another Panzer III on the way for him. Got the bazooka team flying through the south. Straight into the anti-tank grenade launchers there. We got the mortars joining in. Still no upgrades for his half-track. Again, I feel like he would really benefit from either the autocannon upgrade to into an armored car, or again mortar half-tracks. Imagine if you had 2 mortar half-tracks while I was attacking or anything. That would be really, really bad news for me. So definitely I think bit of a potential overshot by my opponent, not upgrading into either the armored cars, or I think even worse for me, the mortar half-tracks. Mine goes off here, and that was the Panzerjägers. They got utterly annihilated. Head-on assault here. Again, I am slightly frustrated with some of my bad luck here, so I'm committing to, well, basically another not very good assault. Of course, difference is now, got this mortar here added, of course, and the Sherman out. There we go, flanking the Panther fields. Got bazooka fire here, as the machine gun does not focus on the bazooka teams. Like to move up here. Still, the assault does not exactly go swimmingly. I do inflict some damage here upon Mr. Juju here, but not sufficient there. Go moving in with a single Sherman. They're using Seek and Destroy. Asgard there closing their T3, going for the Panther 3 next. Getting some damage in the nearby troops, preparing the Panther 3. Bazooka team's about to get utterly annihilated. Really bad push there. Mortar Father at least get some damage in there. Mortar definitely proving its worth here. Mortars, not, I think, as heavily valued in the current metagame, but definitely I think something worth looking into. Get more damage here, Sherman. That's heavily damaged. You need to get out of there before that gets turned into a self-propelled trash can. Somehow I do manage to pull out of that one. Somehow I do manage it. Despite my best efforts to sabotage myself. Just moving about here. A lot of vehicles once want to repair from. He, of course, prioritizes the Panzer III. He does not prioritize Ludwig because somehow got stuck in the treads. What about Ludwig? We can't save him now. He's too far gone into the machinery. Best we can do is pretend he isn't there. I hear that! No, Ludwig, you're dead. You're dead, Ludwig. You're very dead, Ludwig. Sending Narcos no team with the infantry up north. Just pushing back here. No point in pushing ahead here.
The ability is ready for use.
Got the DC-8 Command Group at the ready. Mortifying the troops nearby the Panther III. Could actually go for airburst barrage, maybe. That might make a bit more sense, but too late for that now. And then you just got White. Great kill there for Mr. Juju. Great kill. But again, I feel like you could be affording a bit more troops up there. Of course, replace the engineers. I very much replace them. For those wondering why I'm upgrading here with the 76mm conversion, partly it's because, well, I don't really need more penetration against Panzer IIIs, and of course, there's the element of the high explosives bit, but that's honestly a bit cheesy, and seems a bit rude. So I don't see the point in going for that one. But then some points of the year are both slightly redundant, you know, slightly cheesy. Panzer moving out here, Panzer there being absolutely ripped apart. Again, I definitely also should have researched some upgrades for the infantry, certainly this the grenade package. Meanwhile, I'm making a push here for the lighthouse, setting up positions here against all the troops down here. Bit messy though to manage due to like the way the lighthouse blocks lines are something can be difficult to keep track of everything here. Bazooka guys for some reason fire not at the Panzer fleet but the infantry. That definitely quite well got there. Lighthouse getting absolutely pumped there. We got a command tank out of the befehlt Panzerkampfwagen 4. Panzer almost being ripped apart here. Lighthouse rapidly falling apart. Got the Sherman up here. Pretty brutal engagement around the lighthouse, the likes of which I don't think anyone has so far seen on the map here. Pushing back the Achtra, the 250 after here. We still got Panzerjägers and the command tank that was teaming up here, trying to pop Ace anti-tank satchel here. But that did not quite work out the way it hoped for. Absolutely violent stuff here. Lighthouse got, well, the worst of it. Falling back here, command tank rushing forwards here. And here my Sherman for some reason decides to do a 180-degree turn, much to my great annoyance. Sherman though still gets to escape here. Mortar machine needs to get out of there as well. Before they get utterly hosed. Reinforcing healing here. So there you go, Panther III and Panther IV. Initially the tanks were designed to be complementary. The Panther III was meant to like deal with tanks, while the Panther IV was like meant to deal with infantry and such. Thus it was overall a bit slower initially. And equipped again with the gun just mostly far like in pretty impressive artillery shelters. Only as you know the war moved on they realised they needed bigger guns than the Panther III could mount, and the Panther IV really became, so to say, the main medium tank of the German army. Fun fact. There. And in fact, the last model of the Panther III, the Model N, would actually be equipped with the same gun as this Panther IV command tank. Meanwhile, I'm going for the M18 Hellcat to help deal with these tanks and whatnot. Maybe also like deal with the other stuff there, as it does pack a better punch as its tanks, doing better penetration, but also better damage. So the M18 Hellcat there has a few advantages. Meanwhile, there he's just holding up. Again, he's not really pushing elsewhere. Like, he's really like focusing like these, absorbing these confrontations against, which is not necessarily always what the DAK Bennett is like best at. I mean, really, he's going to do that. He shouldn't have gone for command tanks. He should actually gone for a flak 36. Set it up here. That made it very difficult to attack with my tanks. So I feel like strategically, tactically, my opponent is committing a bit of a mistake here. Mortar crew, for some reason, I misclicked there. E-Mark got the Hellcat. And the Sherman forwards here. Again, we got Seek and Destroy, which of course allows the Hellcat to fire even faster than it already can. Panther 3 they're heavily damaged. Got the Artillery moving forwards. Almost got the Panther 3 here. Command Tank Sherman running forwards here. Panther 3 there narrowly survives. I think that's partly due to the Command Tank here. And there you go. Panther 3 down. He's just down to the Command Tank here. And the Artillery there dodging the mine somehow impressively enough there. Command Tank's about to get knocked up. We got another Panther 3 arriving here for Mr. Juju. His Panther 3 and his Panther 4 are absolutely on fire here. It is absolute chaos here. Ambulance about to get wrecked as well here. Artillery, by the way, still alive. Close to 83 here. M18 just hightailing out of there. Sherman Olsen's engaging. Got first strike there for it. A pretty fierce engagement here, one which I came out fairly well of, in large part due to Seek and Destroy, which is, oh, quite good with both tanks and tank destroyers, as you might have noticed. So the Hellcat greatly benefits from the increase in rate of fire further, because again, it already deals the most damage, so just having it shoot even faster is very bad news for enemy tanks. And following up with this, of course, we've got the infantry moving in here now that the way has been cleared of German armor, and Mr. Juju is down just a single Panzer III, and that infernal Artillery, which was quite frankly driving me bananas. Like, these things can get really tanky to upgrade. Look at that 580 manpower. That's almost as much as like an unupgraded Panzer III, which in this case, he's got both upgrades for it, but like, you know, typically it's more like 600. Like, that really just shows you, like, you know, some of the DAK upgrades can get kinda nutty. First ambulance out there for him. Also kind of tanky at 400 manpower. Ooh, you got tank riding there from him. Rare case where it's not me doing the tank riding, eh? There you go, got the Hellcat, got the Sherman going for the Panther 3, flanking him pretty hard. Panther 3 taking intense damage from the Hellcat and the Sherman. Just need to get that Panther 3 out of there. Deploying smoke here would be a very smart move, and in fact does do that. Almost got the Panther 3 there though. More to find the machine, for some reason pointing in the wrong direction. Fresh Sherman arriving here. White Fox was picked for that one, the other one about equipped with high explosive shells, and there you go. As I kind of figure the Panther 3 was not fighting anymore, switch out high explosive shells, leaving the Hellcat and the other Sherman to deal with any armor. Panther 3 being hauled out of there, had Half Tech taking nasty damage. The assault continues for freedom and democracy here. Hermann Göring, Fallschirmpanzer to be shown. 7th Panzer Company in a bit of a chaotic retreat here. And the Artillery, as you might notice, is absorbing a lot of hits for an armoured car. Like, an actual armoured car would not have been able to absorb, like, you know, even a fraction of the amount of fire just, you know, sunk into it. I definitely think some of these armor upgrades, or armor re-upgrades, provide a bit too much health there. It gets a bit silly when, like, an armored car can, like, just, you know, soak up as many hits as, like, an unupgraded Panzer III for all intents and purposes. It gets a bit much. But that said, in the end, even with all that health, yeah, that didn't really do much good against, you know, this much armor. So opponent here wants more push back into his base part, because again, he just kept, I feel like, just seeking the wrong kinds of engagement against me, allowing me to, like, you know, pull to my advantage. It was just, you know, lots of tanks and tank destroyers, and the occasional Seek and Destroy. Going up here, using the now ruined lighthouse platform here to cover up the sun, the field point. Bazooka teams, infantry teams moving forwards. At this point, I believe my plan is to stay up for an E8 combat group. Get in something slightly fancy here.
Get those guns ready.
Opponent looks like he's going to head westwards. At this point, I'm also starting to slightly wonder if it's like planning something bigger than Panzer III's. Like maybe it's going to go for, like, you know, a Tiger tank or Panzer IV. Well, I don't know, a Stug assault group. That'd be something. That could actually be quite dangerous with all these upgrades you can get from the army upgrades. I mean, those Stugs could be quite tanky and possibly pack a hell of a punch. So, opponent, rather than just charging right into my gun lines again, decides, like, maybe this time around he should actually head northwards, and he does do so. Definitely the right choice there.
They've captured a victory point.
I'm pushing up here from the beach. Machines coming here, one coming the other. More teaming up here. Using the field repairs to just quick repair all my tanks and tank destroyers quite quickly and efficiently. Another Panzer IV from my opponent, so I think that quickly precludes any ideas or notions of Tiger tanks, or Panzer IVs, or Stuka assault groups. Not far in, they got Panzer Pioneer, Panzer Grenadiers, and Panzer Jägers that are pushing forwards, but of course I got my Shermans and my tank destroyers. Bravo Squad, better Stuka team flanking up, catching the Panzer Pioneer out in the open. We got airburst shells from mortar. Let's try and hit here. Making a bit of an impact. Sherman on the move here, backed up by the other Sherman. Ripping into the Krat infantry in the middle of the bloody road, switching onto explosive rails here to use shells, not rails, but shells, to further inflict heavy casualties amongst the German troops, and ends up, you know, being a road covered in German corpses. Hellcat moving up, Sherman's going for another push, and there we go. Got the Sherman Easy Combat Group arriving in here. Meanwhile, I'm pushing towards the base here with my Shermans and Jackson here, catching the half-take here. Panther IV, they're heavily damaged. Deploying smoke there, not shabby. He's been fairly good at using the smoke of the Panther IVs. Problem, although most German players overwhelmed companies too in using their smoke, and they didn't have to research for it even. 250 after their cause now become the target. Their space to swing two of the tanks around the flank here. And then sending the EC8 forwards here through the smoke. Got the HVAT rounds him. He actually goes for Marder. Hellcat there taking a lot of the damage. And the Panther Fleet ends up moving in front of the Marder there, absorbing some hits, I think, from the Sherman. Impressively enough. EC8, the HVAT rounds them doing a ton of damage here. Got the Hellcat. EC8 goes down, but in the end, I take out two tanks and a tank destroyer. Never mind all the infinite murder, and there you go. GG. As always, just a quick stop there in case it decides to just randomly pop me out. Even got a Betsy Fleet Sherman here at the end. So there you go, though. Fierce back and forth fight here. Initial strong start by me. Opponent that was able to punish me, push me back. But my opponent, I felt like, was just at times a bit too static, which is the DAK is not necessarily what you're looking to be. I think he could have done better at overall map control and trying to outmaneuver me. And several times I was actually the one outmaneuvering quite efficient, of course, to my benefit. But also feel like, you know, he should have gone for that, like, half-track upgrades. I think, you know, it's several stages, like a pair of mortar half-tracks would have been, quite frankly, an absolute nightmare for me, you know, backing up those Panzer IIIs and whatnot. But I was just, you know, again, I was more proactive, I was more active, I was looking like to flank him, to outmaneuver him. My opponent just, you know, a lot of the time he was passive, he was reactive, which very much, you know, a lot of the time gave me the advantage. And, you know, this is Communist 3, not Communist 2, but in Communist 2, you were typically rewarded a lot of the time for just being passive. In Communist 3, you can actually be punished for that. Like, for example, I spotted the Panther III moving to the rest of the force, isolated it, destroyed it, before it could link up, and suddenly, like, even losing a Chaffee, I was still ahead there. So, you know, those are the sort of kind of things you want to keep in mind there. So I hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. If it did, subscribe, like, share, comment. You can also consider donating on Patreon. One link is in the description. Helps the Propagandacast keep doing what it does. Or if you haven't already bought Companies Free, you can do so with a link in the comments. Use the code STUK3G there, the promo code, and I get a small cut of the sale. So thank you all for joining in. Hope you enjoyed it all of this, and see you all tomorrow for another episode. Bye.